So it rather looks like they're going to start preparing to build these stairs now. And now I'm beginning to understand why they bought that big bucket. Because they're going to put some footings in and make a sort of firm base. I'm assuming they're not going to actually make the base very thick because it's not technically going to be taking any weight. Well, not weight of any substantial amount anyway. It's really just somewhere to be able to fix the bottom of the ladder to the stairs. I mean, the weight it will take will be, I'm presuming they're just going to make stairs that aren't really attached to the frame of the house. I might be wrong, they might well attach the top bit of the stairs to this beam here, and they might well use this beam here as well to attach it at the bottom. Excuse me. And if they do that, then some of the weight of the stairs will be taken by the house frame. It's certainly not going to be a substantial weight like a vehicle or a house structure. So what's that? That's going to be 10 centimetres probably, 10 centimetres thick. The other thing I've noticed that they've done today is they've brought along some extra scaffolding. So they've got 2 towers now. I'm wondering if they're going to be putting those up to do the canopy, the small canopy up there. Sometimes I just think they have a peculiar way about them, because I would have thought if they'd fitted that canopy before they finished the top 4 rows of the fascia board on the room, they could have just leant through that hole there before they put the roof on. Excuse me, fix that canopy bit, then finish the front of the room, and then do the roof. But as I've said before, they always find a way of doing these things, even if it's somewhat convoluted. But as we're on a fixed price on this, it doesn't really matter if they take an extra day just doing that one piece. Other than the fact that we are now starting to get a little bit time critical, because Suntory starts work in about 10 days time. What date is it today? Let me just check. Suntory starts work in 8 days time, which means we've got to be out of here in 6 days time. What are we on? Day 9 now of this, I think. And they're not working tomorrow. They've got something else to do with farming rubber that's essential to do tomorrow. Just thinking aloud, how many days' work have they got left just on the room? Well, they've got to trim off the roof on 3 sides, which involves cutting on 2 sides. That's going to take them a few hours to get that sorted. They've got that canopy at the front to do. And they've got the stairs to form. The windows should go in very quickly, and the door relatively quickly. I can't help but feel they've got 3 days worth of work still on the room, and then they've got 3 days on the wall, so it's all going to be very tight. Tomorrow we've got a guy coming to fit the ceiling and to board out the interior of the room. Suntory spoke to him yesterday to see if he would be able to do the job, and he said yes, and he's told her this morning what materials we need based on the measurements we've given him. But it's Sunday today, so although she can order the materials, they won't get delivered until Monday tomorrow, which is the day he's going to turn up early to get the job done. And the company that Suntory orders from is somewhat unreliable on their delivery times. She'll have to beg them to come really, really early, the first drop, which may not fit in with their schedule, of course, and the person at the counter may say yes, but the person scheduling the deliveries might change their mind on that. But he can only, the guy coming to do the ceilings can only do it tomorrow, or not for a while because of where he's working. He can fit us in tomorrow. It's probably half a day's work, to be fair, because it's only one little room, although it's the boarding of the walls as well that he's got to do. So yes, maybe it's a full day's work. I don't know, but his sudden announcement he can do it tomorrow, and Suntory's acceptance of that has somewhat put us on the spot, because there's still some welding to do in the room to actually create the uprights needed to fix the boarding, and I need to get the electric wires in there as well, dangling where they need to come out of the boards, ceiling and the walls. And I can't do that until they've done the welding in the room. So everything's got a certain order to it, as it always does it with projects. But it's all sort of, it all needs to be squashed into 24 hours. Well, not 24 hours, because I'm not working in the dark. So it needs to be squashed into what is now 8 hours of daylight before Monday tomorrow. So I have to say I'm not particularly happy today. Yeah, good as it is to get this sort of job done within a couple of weeks, literally from writing it on a bit of paper to actually having it built, that's fantastic. There's no doubt about that. You couldn't do that in a Western country. I mean, we'd need bloody planning permission for this, we'd need building regulations, we'd need the local council to inspect things, apart from which the cost would be absolutely enormous and the builders wouldn't be available for months. Having said that, of course, it all comes at a somewhat of at a cost, because you have to be very flexible as to people's availability, and then that puts pressures on you and on other people. And I mean, the third guy isn't here yet. He's the main welder, really. I think the other two are cracking on with the stairs. What time he'll turn up and why he's a bit later, I don't know. It might well be that he's bringing he's borrowing another scaffolding from somewhere, because 2 scaffolds aren't high enough to reach that canopy, but 3 probably would be. So that's probably the reason he's going to be late. But he's the one that needs to get in that room first thing and finish the welding off. And that will then allow me a chance to start doing the electrics. But the problem is they're going to be forming the stairs right alongside where I want to run wires in plastic conduit, and so I'm not going to be wanting to be standing next to them while they're welding. So I'm not quite sure how it's going to work out, which is why I'm not particularly in a good frame of mind today, because I'm under significant pressure. The alternative is to leave the electrics completely until the room is boarded out, and run all the wires on the surface in plastic trunking, which is going to be dead ugly, and something I want to avoid, seeing as we've actually got the ability to hide it in the gap between the outer face and the inner face of the room. Yeah. There's a couple of other things going on that I'm not very happy about, so it just means I've sort of started the day in the wrong frame of mind, and now I'm moaning on camera, which is not a good thing, is it? But I think we've had day after day of this, and day after day of not being relaxed. And I'm retired now. I'm retarded, as my friend calls it, or retarded, some people would say. I just want this to end now. I just want this to finish. Get this place tidied up, and I can sit back and actually enjoy a quiet afternoon. Right, moaning over. Sorry about that, folks, but there you go. Yes, we've now got 3. Yes, we've now got 3 scaffolding towers, so that'll take them up to that roofette area there. So that's good. Now that's interesting. So what they're doing there is they've got steel there, which they're setting into the concrete. Presumably one of the feet for the stairs will be welded to that.
เราก็อยากใส่ไส้มันใส่ไส้แล้วก็เป็นอย่างนึงมันซอยก็จะเท่งอ่ะ
มีเด้คาราบาวสิ
Now they're making their way across on the canopy. Unfortunately, the work that I need doing so I can crack on isn't being done, so I've sort of written that off in my mind now. Someone else can do the electrics. Right, they finished the canopy at the front and they're on the roof, and they've only got about half an hour left. They've been up there about half an hour. There's one guy putting the cappings on. You can see him at the front now. So he's getting the cappings on before they put the front trim on. They've put one cover on the corner here, and Suntare's painting it. She's been up on the trestles, and now she's got a huge stick, a huge long stick, and she's tied a brush to it, and she's painting it very gently. Using that, ingenious. That colour is I think it's going to be white. I'm not sure what the colour is, to be honest with you, because I'm not sure where she's got that paint from. I think the paint might be interior paint, so we'll have to see how it lasts. But at least it's going to be a colour rather than just the natural board colour, which I mentioned in a previous video. They've dealt with the overhang on this side. They've taken the panel off. They unscrewed it and actually took it off, and they've cut it so that there is an upstand still on the edge, so the rain won't be tempted to flow sideways down underneath the trim, as it were. So that's very, very good. They've done a good job there at keeping that upstand there. And they'll do the same at the other side, I'm sure, because they know that's what they've got to do. Oh, hello. This is the side trim going on now. I'm going to move to a different position. Right, so yes, you can see the neatness of that edge there. Before they get that trim on, they've cut that perfectly. And now that trim's going to go on perfectly as well, because it's not going to be stressed and trying to misshape itself. So that's once that's fixed in place, that'll be excellent, because it won't be trying to force itself into a different shape and consequently look horrible, or indeed spring open. Sorry, this filming is obviously in a bit of profile because of the fact that I'm aiming the camera up into the sky. I'll change position again. Standing in the neighbour's property now. You can see everything's going on from here. Very, very well. Suntory painting. The longest paintbrush in the world. And we've got the guys fixing that trim on. I do hope they get all the trim on actually tonight, because Sunshine tells me the weather's changing. She says we can expect some monsoon type weather coming our way. Last couple of days have been beautiful. It would be good to get the trims on so that we don't end up with any water getting underneath the roof into the foam. Oh, hello. I parked my car here so the buffalo wouldn't go near it when they go past, but two did. So they're going to put the first half of the front trim on now. They've obviously, what they've done is they've cut it so they can bend it around the corner. So that's good. Having spent all day on that little tiny weeny overhang, which is I don't know what benefit it is, to be honest with you. It just seems a little bit funny to me, but they've spent all day on that, and to me they didn't make very much progress today because of that reason. And all of a sudden it's all go up on the roof, and the last sort of hour and a half they're achieving loads. Don't worry about that one, darling. She knows what I'm like. She spotted a drip on the grey there, but it's just slightly out of reach for her to wipe it off. Because I've been grumpy today, she's probably very wary that I'm watching and that she should try and get it off. But we won't even see that unless we're standing in the neighbour's garden exactly where I am now. She's undoing her brush. She's got to a point where she can reach to do the last bits. Right, I've just checked the time, it's 5 o'clock, which means they've got exactly an hour left before it's really quite dark. So I reckon they'll get this roof finished actually, because I've just noticed that they trimmed off this edge. leaving an upstand so that it again, so the water that falls on the roof doesn't want to go underneath the trim and fall down the side of the house. And that's not quite as tight as the other one, but I know from my own measurements that should be okay. Should just about be okay. The trim won't go on quite as straight and easy, but they should be able to find a way of bending it to make it sit okay. It's only decorative trim after all, really. It's not really designed to be part of the waterproofness of the roof. It's just really just to give the edge a finish. So yeah, I think we'll have a good ending to the day, and then they'll get their day off, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. That'll be the key thing when the plasterer turns up, whether he can actually achieve anything.